and welcome everyone to the National Genealogical Society's 2022 annual meeting. I'm Catherine Doyle, president of NGS. Thank you for being here with us tonight to celebrate the past year and to look forward to our collective future. Before we begin, a reminder that the election for the NGS Board of Directors is underway right now. You have just a few more minutes to submit the electronic ballot sent to you via email. Voting will close at 8:15 Eastern Time. And if you can't find that email, please search for NGS at intelliscaninc.net in your email box. We will announce the results of the election and the new officers and directors later in the meeting. So, did you get the memo? I think you did. Have you ever shown up for a meeting and realized that several people were dressed in the same color? And so you heard that joke about getting the memo about what to wear. So with that in mind, we decided to add a little color to our meeting tonight. And we've been sending out that memo to all of you that NGS is an American mosaic filled with an infinite variety of beautiful colors. What color or colors are you wearing tonight? What in your family story do those colors represent? Please look around our Zoom virtual room and see what an incredible mosaic we all make when we come together. Please feel free to use the chat to let us know why you chose that color. So with that image in mind, let's start by reviewing the NGS mission statement. The mission of the National Genealogical Society is to inspire, connect, and lead the family history community. We foster best practices in advocacy, education, preservation, and research. We enable people, cultures, and organizations to discover the past and create a lasting legacy. Our goal for this annual meeting is to share with you all the exciting ways that we are living out this mission. The past year has certainly been an impactful one for NGS. With the mission as our guiding star, we continue to adjust our activities to accommodate the effects of the pandemic. We worked hard to come together as a broader and deeper family history community. And your board of directors has engaged in a year-long process of foresight or planning with the future in mind. So back to that memo. NGS is an American mosaic. Not only was American Mosaic our theme for the 2022 Family History Conference this May, but we are working hard to make sure that all members of the family history community feel welcomed and find a sense of belonging in the genealogy world. And NGS, as our mission states, is committed to connecting all aspects of family history community, whether you're a budding historian, a professional researcher, a society leader, or an information provider. I'm going to ask several board members tonight who are central to a lot of our work to share what they have been up to and what that means for NGS. First, you'll hear from Sherry Passy, our Vice President of Societies and Organizations. She will discuss how the voice of organizations is being strengthened and heard at NGS. Then will be Bernice Bennett, our member of the board and chair of the membership committee, who will highlight how two new member benefits, our quarterly Member Connects Zoom events and our forum online communities, are creating new opportunities for collaboration. Speaking of Member Connects, I hope you tuned in recently to hear Andre Kearns, a member of our board and the chair of the NGS DEI committee, the Committee on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, who reprised his keynote address from our member banquet in Sacramento. Andre is going to give us a quick update tonight on how we are measuring and tracking our DEI progress at NGS. In between each of these, our executive director, Matt Menashes, will pop in with some survey questions. Later, Mary Catherine Cozy, our education course manager, will talk about our newest education course. And then our treasurer, Deb Hoskins, will present our audited financial statements. Board member and development committee chair, David Rencher, will talk about what it takes to move NGS forward. And Secretary Ron Hodges will announce those election results. But for now, Sherry Passy, please take it away.
Thank you, Catherine. Hi, I'm Sherry Hudson Passy, Vice President of Society and Organization Management. Now, one of the most important aspects of the merger between NGS and FGS in 2020 was to develop a place where genealogy organizations have the opportunity for their voices to be heard and influence the family history community. The NGS Delegate Council was the result of those discussions, and a steering committee was formed to get the council started. This group now provides ongoing guidance to the Delegate Council. I'd love to give a shout out to Sam Williams and Kate Townsend for their leadership as chair and vice chair the past year. And also thank you to all of the steering committee members. You are all fantastic. This aspect of our American mosaic now has 202 delegates registered from 569 organizations, societies, libraries, museums, archives, family associations, and other institutions. We ask that each member organization name a delegate to represent them and an administrator who manages the account information and accesses most of the online benefits and resources. Now, the Delegate Council meets quarterly, and the teleconferences held so far and an in-person session, which was so much fun, at the Sacramento conference have been quite successful. Delegates have discussed how to host virtual and hybrid meetings, find and retain volunteers, and other critical topics. The May meeting gave us an opportunity to talk about where we are after the first year and where we're going. Delegates began exploring how we learn with the future to plan long-term and what we can do now to solidify the foundation built since the merger. The needs and ideas expressed are shaping the actions of NGS staff and the Delegate Council for the year ahead. That same day in May, we enjoyed the first in-person SLAM Idea Showcase event and Focus on Societies. It was energizing to spend time learning from societies, libraries, a university, and others who are finding success. We're already thinking about what those programs will look like in Richmond, Virginia in 2023. Now, don't forget to go to YouTube and check out the 2022 SLAM submissions. Well, here's what's next. If you are a member of a genealogical or genealogy organization, make sure your organization is a member of NGS and your voice is part of this exciting conversation. Stay engaged through your delegate and admin and contribute to strengthening the community of genealogy organizations. NGS now has a staff member, Organizations and Communities Manager Kate Smith, who can help you if you need to join or to make sure that you have a delegate and admin. Now, as you can see from the numbers that I talked about earlier, we have a lot of organizations without admins or delegates. Now, Kate will be reaching out to members about that, but don't hesitate to contact her first. With that, we're taking feedback and suggestions from May to continue evolving how NGS and organization members work together. We want to ensure organizations have a firm foundation of programs, resources, and communication. In doing that, we'll also look to grow this amazing community and invite more organizations to join NGS and add their voice. Organizations face many challenges and are trying to remain vibrant and relevant. This last year has shown us that we can find solutions together and build a diverse community that will lead and inspire for generations to come. So now, Matt, I'm going to turn the time over to you for a few survey questions.
Thank you, Sherry. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm so glad I got to meet many of you in Sacramento in May, or online during our Member Connects events this year, or tonight on our annual meeting. As Catherine and Sherry suggested, we're going to ask you a few poll questions throughout the evening, and we hope you enjoy the results. If you're on your desktop computer this evening, the survey should be easy to respond to. If you're on a mobile device, you may need to look for the 3 more dots at the bottom of your screen to see the survey. All right, here is the first survey. Are you a member of a state or local genealogy society where you live? Yes or no? Are you a member of a state or local genealogy society where your ancestors lived? Yes or no? Are you a member of a special interest or ethnic genealogy society? Yes or no? And does your local library have genealogical resources that you use? We're going to let this run for a couple of seconds, and we'll see the answers in just a moment. I currently have 197 people, 198 on the call. Looks like we have about 157 or so that have answered. We'll give it another couple seconds. All right, starting to slow down. Oh, we're up to 175. We're getting close to our total joined numbers. All right, let's take a look at our poll results. 75% of you answered that you are a member of a state or local genealogy society where you live. 65% said you were a member of a state or local genealogy society where your ancestors lived. About 50% said you were a member of a special interest or ethnic genealogy society. And 80% of you say your local library has genealogical resources that you use. So fantastic. Thank you so much for answering those questions. We really appreciate it. And there's clear evidence that the value that local, state, ethnic, and specialty genealogy societies provide for all of you is important. And we're glad to be able to support them through our society and organization membership. Now I'd like to introduce Bernice Bennett to talk about how NGS provides ways for the diverse family history community to connect and collaborate. Welcome, Bernice.
Thank you, Matt. I am Bernice Bennett. It's bittersweet to be finishing my term on the board and as membership committee chair, because I am so excited about the changes we have brought to membership over the past 2 years. From bringing in organization members following the merger with FGS. So launching new programs that allow our members to connect, I am so thrilled with what we have accomplished. As you may know, last November, we launched our quarterly Members Connect Zoom events. Tonight's annual meeting is the 4th of these in the past year, and we have another this November. During the past year, we have used Member Connects to introduce the topic of diversity, equity, and inclusion to the NGS membership. We will introduce Forum, our new member community, which I will talk about more in a moment. In June, Andre Kearns gave a repeat of his 2022 conference keynote address. And tonight we're here with all of you to share the past year, complete our election, and get ready for an exciting 2023. My favorite part of these events has been the ability to stay on when the main program is over and connect with members around the country. As I just mentioned, Forum is one of our exciting new developments, and it launched in January. This online platform provides a safe, welcoming space for all NGS members to engage in conversation related to genealogy, ask questions, or share expertise and build our community. I hope many of you are like me and love learning about fellow members as they introduce themselves on Forum. This even led me to meet a cousin, Dr. Nona Edwards-Thomas, because of what she posted. So I believe in Forum and the power it gives us to connect with each other and share information about resources we research family history. Now, there's several different communities available right now, and more will be added. In those communities, we are talking about everything from news articles and favorite library resources to the brick walls different members are trying to break down. If you are an individual member or an organization delegate who hasn't logged into Forum recently or at all, please go check it out. There's a help FAQ page if you have questions, and tutorial videos can be found there on YouTube if you'd like to see someone walk through how to use the platform. It becomes more valuable with each member who uses it. So join me on the forum. Since the 1st of January 2022, 1,834 people have logged in to Forum. 799 of those have updated their Forum profile, and 94 total discussion threads and Q&A posts have been started. There are other ways to engage as well through volunteering for NGS and for community-wide projects. For instance, this year we partnered with Family Search to create opportunities for individuals and organizations to support the census rollout through the 1950 U.S. Census Community Project. We also continue to need volunteers to participate on committees, to judge awards and competitions, and to support conference and other event planning. If you are interested in volunteering for NGS, please email volunteers@ngsgenealogy.org. I also want to mention the recent agreement between NGS and the Pennington Research Association to facilitate continued support for PRA's work following their decision to dissolve. PRA transferred its digital and financial assets, support PRA's physical assets, which have long been held at the Earlham College Archives in Indiana with an annual stipend, and provide PRA members with a complimentary membership in NGS. We greatly appreciate the trust of the Pennington descendants who worked with us to ensure the future of their research. Okay, it's time for another quick poll, Matt.
All right. So the next poll is, have you signed on to the NGS Member Benefit Forum? Numbers are coming in. We've got about 175 of you who have answered, 180. So let's end this poll here. And our results show about 45% of you have signed in, about 38% have not, and 17% of you have not heard of Forum before tonight. We have one more question on Forum, and this is for those of you who have signed in. This is a short answer question. What would encourage you to sign in to Forum? So go ahead and type in your thoughts on what would encourage you to sign into Forum. Answers are starting to come in. All right, let's take a look at the answers that we got in. So relevant content to their research, more information, topics that interest them. They'll sign in tonight, but they didn't know about it. finding value in the information that's on there. Some people indicated they want email notifications about topics being discussed with links to the forum. Needing help with brick wall issues, genealogy, genetics studies. More time is one thing that would help them sign in. So we really appreciate the information. We'll take a look at all of that. Somebody said they would appreciate more chocolate milkshakes delivered to them. So we'll make sure we do that as well. And hopefully that'll be enough to get them to sign in, but we'll use this information to help make forum more accessible to all of you as members. So thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Andre Kearns. Andre?
Thank you. I'm Andre Kearns, board member and chair of the NGS Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. Last year at our annual meeting, I was excited to introduce our amazing DEI committee and to share our mission to help NGS realize its vision to be a society open to all people seeking to discover their family histories, be inspired by them, and give voice to their ancestors. Just as a reminder, let's revisit what DEI means at NGS. Diversity is the combination of cultural backgrounds, experiences, skills, and more that make us who we are and ultimately benefit our NGS community. Equity is the fairness of access, opportunity, and advancement for all across NGS. And inclusion is providing an environment where all members feel valued, trusted, connected, and informed. I'm so excited to share some of the specific and tangible progress that we made this year against our DEI goals. We've established a DEI section of our NGS website, and I encourage all of you to visit there if you haven't. We've increased our communications around the DEI activities we're driving. Hopefully you've received those communications. We've started gathering data to assess diversity, equity, and inclusion in various aspects of our society. Hopefully you're seeing that. We updated our editorial style guides for our marketing materials. Hopefully you're experiencing the impact there in making our marketing materials more inclusive. And we've celebrated Heritage Months by sharing important resources for our members. And so hopefully you've seen those and you've celebrated with us. Now to some specific performance metrics. We set a goal of 25% of NGS conference content being on DEI topics or from DEI representative speakers. And so I am both excited and very proud to say that the 2022 Family History Conference in Sacramento really, through that conference, we really leaned into the theme of our American mosaic. And I'm proud to share that almost 1/3 of all sessions met the criteria I outlined. 31% of all of our in-person sessions, 60% of the online at-home offerings, and then 22% of our on-demand selections. Likewise, we set a goal of filling 25% of leadership positions across NGS's board and committees with individuals who bring diverse backgrounds and perspectives. And so I'm proud to report that we currently have 33% DEI representation in leadership positions. And our goal in the nomination process for tonight's election and in updating committee memberships over the next month or so is to at least maintain, but hopefully grow on this established level of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we especially want to be mindful of how to engage younger members in our work. In fact, a goal for the next year from a DEI perspective is to create a process to develop a pipeline of leadership for the society, for NGS. So if you're interested in participating in any number of volunteer opportunities throughout NGS, I'd ask you to email the following. Email volunteer@ngsgenealogy.org and just let us know you're interested. So with that, I'll say thank you for this opportunity to share this update. And now back to Matt for a couple of additional polling questions.
Thanks, Andre. All right, our final poll of the evening has been launched. First question is, have you as an individual researcher or your local society or organization done any work in the areas of diversity, equity, and inclusion? And there is an open-ended question. What support on the topic of DEI might be helpful to you or your society or organization? We'll give this a few moments. Our numbers are pretty neck and neck here. All right, we just crossed 100 answers. So we're gonna stop the poll here. And about 60% of you have done some work, or your organization has done some work in the area of diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's really good to see. And for what support on the topic of DEI would be helpful to you or your society or organization, some of the answers we received were guidelines on making our communications more inclusive, clarity of how DEI is measured by what ethnicities. How does DEI in inclusion take care of persons with disabilities, and how is NGS addressing this? LGBT plus exploration, Hispanic research support, topics and speakers, engaging youth. So those are some of the answers that we got in from the survey results. So thank you very much for that. We greatly appreciate it. Now back to Catherine.
While much of our effort this past year has focused on developing voice for organization members, enhancing collaboration opportunities for both individuals and organizations, and studying the future, we have not lost focus of the traditional strengths of NGS, including our top-notch education programs. So now let me introduce Mary Catherine Cozy, our education course manager, to talk to you about our newest course released earlier this year. Welcome, Mary Catherine.
Thanks, Catherine. Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be here with all of you. Tonight, I would like to talk about our newest education course, Foundations in Family History. Foundations in Family History is a 3-part course created with hobbyists and intermediate researchers in mind. Most of us start our family history research learning on our own. There comes a point, however, when we need to fill in the gaps and learn about using the wide variety of records available to build our family tree. Foundations in Family History is the course that can help you do that. What you're seeing on your screen now is Canvas, our learning management system. It allows students to manage their own learning from home and on their own schedule in an easy-to-use, comprehensive educational environment. Foundations in Family History is provided via the Canvas system. Let me quickly review the 3 sections of the Foundations course. Foundations 101 starts at the beginning with examining home sources and talking to relatives. There's an entire module on establishing identities, a critical skill, and also one on research planning, which can make research more efficient. Foundations 102 moves on to discuss analyzing records and the reliability of information. There are also modules related to using Family Search and how to get the most out of vital records, censuses, newspapers, and cemetery records. Foundations 103 dives into important record sets such as probate and religious records, published sources, and repositories. It also covers DNA basics and ways to share your family history. All 3 sections of this course include self-correcting quizzes, reading and reference lists, glossaries, and writing exercises to put theoretical learning into action. Along with the lesson material in each module, articles from NGS Magazine highlight the topics covered. For example, to help every student implement the information they are learning, each module features a step-by-step process the student can use to research their own family. This example shows how to sort records of same-named individuals. Another example of course content is the module on analyzing records, which helps use personal identifiers to make sure you're identifying the correct individual. Almost every module also includes a case study, which walks students through the process with a real-life example, which demonstrates in practical terms how to use the records and to see the principles they are learning in action. Each module of the Foundations in Family History course can be purchased separately, or the entire course can be purchased at one time. NGS members receive a discount on each course section and an even greater discount for the full course package. For more information on the Foundations course, there's a detailed article by Terry Koch-Bostic about the course in the April to June issue of the NGS magazine. In addition to Foundations in Family History, NGS offers a number of other courses as part of our continuing genealogical studies program. These courses target specific learning on a variety of topics such as DNA, military records, African American research, transcribing records, and many others. Please check them out on our website. We continue to develop more courses for specialized learning. In late 2022, we expect to introduce a course tailored to more advanced researchers. We look forward to helping our members in the genealogy community meet their educational needs. Thank you, and back to you, Catherine.
Thank you, Mary Catherine. One of the jewels of the National Genealogical Society is our program to honor excellence in family history work. Our terrific awards committee chair, Judy Numbermun, has asked me to remind you that we have now entered awards season. We need you to tell us about the great genealogical work in your local area that deserves national recognition. Our competitions shine a bright light on the exceptional writing done by genealogists and family historians. We are always particularly thrilled to read submissions to our Rubicam Youth Writing Competition. Deadline for all awards and competitions is the 15th of December, so please pass this on to your organizations. Now let me turn the Zoom over to Deborah Hoskins, our treasurer, who will present this year's financial statements and audit. Deb?
Catherine. Hi, I'm Deborah Hoskins, treasurer of the National Genealogical Society. I have served in this role since October 2018. Before becoming the NGS treasurer, I spent 32 years as a senior healthcare finance professional in several for-profit and nonprofit hospitals before retiring in July 2018. Last year, I presented the 2020 annual audit of the old NGS. Tonight, I am here to present to you the results of the 2021 annual audit for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2020 to September 30th, 2021 for the new NGS organization, reflecting the combination of the old NGS and the Federation of Genealogical Societies. These audit numbers include the statement of financial position and the related statement of activities, changes in net assets, functional expenses, and cash flows. We are again proud to announce that NGS received an unqualified opinion, which is a funny way of saying that in our independent auditor's judgment, our financial statements are fairly and appropriately presented without any identified exceptions and in compliance with generally accepted accounting principles. The statement of financial position, commonly referred to as the balance sheet, includes total assets as of September 30th, 2021 of $3,338,000, shown approximately halfway down the slide. Those total assets are comprised primarily of cash and marketable securities of $3.2 million. NGS applied for and received a Paycheck Protection Program loan for $51,600, which was forgiven in 2021. Net assets as of September 30th, 2021, shown at the bottom of the slide, increased by $1,668,000 from September 30th, 2020 to $2,652,000 due to the merger with FGS and an exceptionally profitable year. On the statement of activities, commonly referred to as the income statement, NGS saw revenue growth in memberships, the annual conference, and other income, primarily contributions and investment income, as shown on the top half of the slide. Although once again virtual in 2021, net profits from the 2021 conference increased by almost $200,000 due to increased revenues and decreased expenses. Membership saw a 5% growth during the year, climbing to 10,300 members by the end of the fiscal year. This growth resulted from providing more reminders to renew and an improved renewal process. We also believe that during the early months of the pandemic, there was increased interest in family history, which we believe led to a pandemic bump in NGS membership. With a threefold increase in the number of donations and an improvement in the financial markets, other income increased by $140,000. At the bottom of the slide, total expenses at $1,410,000 were slightly less than the prior year of $1,492,000. The decrease in expense is attributed to savings in the virtual conference expenditures. On the statement of changes in net assets increased by $1,668,000 to end the year slightly under $2,652,000. Looking back on 2021, the merger of the National Genealogical Society and the Federation of Genealogical Societies successfully took place on October 1st, 2020. At that time, approximately $1.3 million in cash was transferred to NGS from FGS. $400,000 was restricted for Preserve the Pensions and other similar projects, and $900,000 was designated for the enhancement and preservation of society activities. These funds are only used for activities that support organizations. I'm proud to say that the clean audit results I've shared today from NGS and the reserves brought from FGS put us in a strong financial position to start 2022. From a financial perspective, fiscal 2022 was different. While we brought back the in-person conference in Sacramento, the number of registrations was not enough to generate the profits we had seen in past years, and in fact, a fairly sizable loss was generated. We believe it will take several years to bring conference profitability back to pre-pandemic levels. It's our understanding that the meetings and events industry has seen dramatic reductions in registrations at many in-person conferences, trade shows, and events. As I said earlier, membership grew during the pandemic years, but is waning in 2022, possibly due to the inflationary economy or with members experiencing Zoom fatigue. To address these issues, we are actively looking at new projects that expand our programs and provide more benefits to our members. We will keep creating new opportunities that enable people, cultures, and organizations to discover the past and create a lasting legacy. If you have questions for me on any of these financial matters, please email me at the address on the screen, or I will be available during the Q&A at the end. Now back to you, Catherine.
Thanks, Deb. The reality is we can't do all we want to do for you or the whole genealogical community without financial resources. Now I'd like to invite David Renscher, board member and chair of the Development Committee, to share with you more about what we are doing to move NGS forward. David, welcome. I believe you're attending here from England, where you are at the International Congress of Genealogical and Heraldic Sciences, and I think it's pretty late there.
It is. It's about 1:45, so I'm hoping I'm not disturbing my my neighbors here. But thank you. It's delightful to be with you. I'm glad to be here this evening representing the Development Committee. I'm so excited about the success of NGS since the merger and the bright outlook that we have. As we look towards the future, we're encouraged by the feedback that we're receiving and getting from members of the genealogical community. We continue to engage in concepts and ideas here, and as part of our work, we're responsible to help move NGS forward with its mission and its initiatives. The Development Committee in particular has worked with the NGS staff researching options and interviewing members about initiatives that NGS might pursue. We met with many of you in Sacramento to discuss what those priorities might be. What we learned from our interviews is that the membership values projects that support education, records preservation, and local and national projects to build and support the genealogical community. These initiatives are exciting, as would be expected. They necessitate time and significant financial resources. We're excited about where we are. As active NGS members and representatives of the genealogical community, we all have the opportunity and the privilege to clearly define the education paths, record preservation initiatives, and meaningful projects for NGS to undertake. This is a monumental undertaking, and we do need your financial support. We have identified 6 different ways that you can contribute financially. Hopefully, one of these works for you. As you know, in the last couple of years, we've launched NGS Giving Days. You can contribute to the annual fundraising appeal during NGS Giving Days starting November 1st. Donate anywhere from $5 to $5,000 or more, whatever you would like. The choice I like is to donate monthly with a recurring donation. That works well for me. I can set it and forget it. You can also contribute a tax-free donation directly from your IRA. You can donate directly to the Stern NARA Fund, specifically for record preservation. You'll notice then from the Treasurer's report that we have about $400,000 in there. Some of these large projects in years past have needed anywhere from $2.3 to $2.7 million to take on. So while $400,000 is a great jumpstart, it isn't enough to do the next major project. You could help sponsor pilot programming. This is particularly true of our education initiative. We need some good foundational funds there to start the education initiative, and you can designate your donation to go to that. You could also help us if you are aware of ways that we could secure corporate sponsorship money. We would welcome any ideas or connections that you may have there. If you have those, please reach out to me or to Executive Director Matt Menashes for more information on how to donate. Our email addresses are on the screen. Thank you so much for your consideration and support. We look forward to your input as the NGS board continues to discuss these concepts and moves forward to support the genealogical community. Catherine, back to you.
Thank you, David. We recognize how important fundraising is for our ability to accomplish our mission. I encourage you all to join me in contributing to NGS. Now, before I turn things over to our secretary to announce the election results, I would first like to acknowledge the incredible work by our nominating committee for their service. Thank you to the committee chair, Nikki LaRue, and members Bernice Bennett, Grant Dinn, Cindy Richardson, and Kate Townsend. Excellent work. I now will turn the floor over to Secretary Ron Hodges, who will announce the election results. Ron?
Good evening, and thank you once again for attending tonight's annual meeting. My name is Ron Hodges. I currently serve as Secretary of the Society. I've served on the board in various roles since 2014. In my position as Secretary, I have the privilege of reviewing and announcing the results of the 2022 board election. On your screen now is the slate of candidates that was presented to the membership for election. All members received an invitation to vote from IntelliScan, the company that handles our elections. The total number of votes cast was 856, and the entire slate was elected. The election of the officers and directors presented is therefore confirmed by member vote. Congratulations to our new officers and directors, and we wish you the best in your new roles. Now let me turn Zoom back over to Catherine.
Thank you, Ron. And thank you all for giving me the opportunity to continue to lead this wonderful organization. And congratulations to our new board of directors. I'd like to introduce the 7 who are new to the board this year. I believe you're all here tonight, and maybe when I say your name, you could give a virtual wave. Janice Cross-Gilliard, Lisa Fanning, Angela Gonzalez, Sarah Gredler, Bob Johnson, Doug Klein, our new treasurer, and Sam Williams, our new secretary. Sam actually is on an airplane, so I'm not sure he's here, but in case you got here, Sam, welcome to all of you. I also would like to acknowledge the board members who are continuing their service. Our 2 current vice presidents, Ellen Balthasar and Sherry Passy, will continue their roles as officers. Marlis Humphrey will continue in her role as Director of Region 3. Andre Kearns, Judy Munn, David Rencher will continue as Directors at Large. Ben Spratling will continue to serve as past president. As you can see from this map, there it is, we strive to be the National Genealogical Society with board representation from all parts of the United States. Our bylaws require us to have at least 1 director from 4 regions. And as you can see, the board is spread across the country. I also want to take this opportunity now to formally thank the board members who have given so much over the years, but who are retiring from the board. They are Jan Alpert, Bernice Bennett, Angie Bush, Ron Hodges, Deb Hoskins, and Faye Stallings. Thank you all so much for your time and talent that you've been giving. And I know some of you will be continuing with some roles for NGS, so thank you for that too. Now I'm going to ask Executive Director Matt Menashes to come with Deb Hoskins, our treasurer, and Development Committee Chair David Rencher, and we will be panelists to answer any questions that you may have. Please type your questions in the chat or raise your virtual hand by clicking raise hand under the reaction buttons on your Zoom menu. We'll do our best to answer some questions. We're coming close to the end of the hour, so. Matt?
Yep. So if you could either raise your virtual hand by clicking on the reactions button at the bottom of your Zoom screen to raise your hand, or do this, if we can see you on the screen, we'll try and capture that, or drop your questions in the chat and we will get some answers for you. So let's start with on the chat. First question is, where will the 2024 NGS conference be held? And I can answer that. We are still looking for a location for 2024. And as soon as we know that, we will let you all know. The second question we see is Forum launched and how does one get to it? So yes, we can say it is launched. You can go to the NGS main website and there is a link to Forum in the top of the screen. You will see a link to other NGS websites and you will see the link to Forum there. So that's the best way to get to it. I do see one virtual hand raised, Karen Yudnich, if you want to unmute yourself and ask your questions.
Yes, I was just wondering if you're considering doing a hybrid 2023 convention.
Catherine, you want to take that one?
I'm sorry, I missed part of that. Oh, the hybrid, was it about whether we're having a hybrid?
Hybrid
Yeah.
in 2023.
Yes, like the last year's.
The plan is to continue what we did this year, which was to have the in-person enrichment and have on-demand afterwards and have an online at home. But we're still early in the process. So we'll keep you informed as we make final decisions.
Okay, thank you for your answer.
Thanks, Karen. All right, the next question I see, can you share the project slide again that David showed? Kate, can you pull up that slide for us? We'll see if we can get that up for you. And while she's doing that, let's see what other questions we might have. Who is the director for Region 1? All right, first here's, let's go to the slide for the projects. Go back 2 more slides, I think it is, Kate. There, that's it. 1 more forward. There we go. Education, records, and projects with local genealogy societies, libraries, archives, and museums. Okay. So the director for Region 1, I'm trying to remember which one is Region 1. But if we can go back to that map, Catherine.
Region 1 is the western part of the United States. I believe the current director for Region 1 is Angie, but let me go back, verify that.
Back up a slide.
Yeah, back
It's
up a
listed.
slide and you'll see the newly elected Region 1.
Region
Yes,
1 is
Sarah
Sarah Gredler.
Yes, so Angie Bush is the current Region 1 director, and then October 1st, Sarah will be moving into that position.
And actually, Sarah even answered that in the chat, I see.
Oh, thank you, Sarah.
Renata asked, is there something that shows what all the potential volunteer opportunities are? Not currently, but we are always looking for volunteers to serve on awards and competitions review committees. So we pass that information on to Judy Munn, who's on the screen right now, or at least I can see her on my screen. We are also always looking for participants for our committees. And then we generally always need help with the conference. So those are the main areas. One other area we're always looking for volunteers, and if you go to the website to a page about the Records Preservation and Access Committee, is liaisons in the states for RPAC, the Records Preservation and Access Committee, Coalition, excuse me. So if you're interested in being the state liaison for RPAC, that's another opportunity to volunteer. All right. Let's see.
We're about 2 minutes away from the end of the hour, Matt.
Yep.
I made a big mistake, and so I'm gonna insert here a big apology. I skipped over one name of one of our returning board members. Apologies to you, Ed Donachie. I skipped over your name, and thank you for letting me know. But Ed Donachie is going to continue on the NGS board. He came to us from the FGS board. So thank you, Ed, for your service, and mea culpa.
Yep.
So
Elisa,
thanks. Go ahead.
Elisa Powell asked, how can members access tonight's annual meeting? So we will have the recording up on YouTube within the next day or two. So there is a playlist on YouTube for the annual meetings for 2020, 2020, 2021, and 2022. That is a mouthful to say. So you'll be able to see the annual meeting on YouTube shortly. Are there any other questions? Oh, there's one other here. I recognize there's significant cost to having recorded lectures on demand for a period of time. Would it be possible to have the on-demand recordings available for a longer period of time? It's hard to watch all the recordings. We'd like to within the time allowed. Right now, we don't see the ability to extend those on-demand recordings past the 6-month window that most of the speakers agree to. So generally, when our speakers agree to have their recordings presented publicly, they give us a 6-month window that we can present those for on-demand. And I just don't see us being able to change that at this point. But we'll certainly take a look at that and start having discussions with our speakers about it. Are there any other questions? I don't see any right now, Catherine, so back to you.
Thanks everyone for your questions. If there's any other question that comes up or a concern you have, please feel free to email Matt or me at any time. I hope the information we shared with you this evening assures you that NGS is focused on inspiring, connecting, and leading the family history community. Before we close, I want to remind everyone to save the date for our next conference in Richmond, Virginia, May 31st to June 3rd next year, 2023. Please look towards the NGS conference website. As we make decisions, we'll be putting the information there. Thank you all for attending the annual meeting this evening. It's an honor to serve as your president and to voice our appreciation to all of you for being with us tonight to celebrate our partnership in NGS. I'm so glad you got the memo. Everyone's very colorfully dressed. Thank you for showing the wonderful American mosaic that is NGS.